what I'm suggesting is, instead of trying to introduce incremental fixes, small remedies, we need to have a very systematic revisiting of our foundations of the field of economics, trying to relax, first of all, our minds, but also other constraints, and try to deal with the root cause of the problem. And this requires us to redesign our economic system. In fact, not redesigning, but replacing the current economic system with a better alternative. An alternative that puts societal values ahead of profit making. Let's see how we do that. So let's go back to the basics. When we open the Economics 101 book, the foundations of the fields of economics, we see some universal truth. And the truth that is being told there is that individuals are pursuing self-interest. So consumers will try to maximize their utility, corporations will try to maximize the profits. It's all about economic gains. And if you are more advanced and you read more recent theories like transaction cost economics, then they will teach you that opportunistic behavior is prevalent. And not only that individuals will pursue their self-interest, but they will do it with guile. And if they need to cheat, deceit, or exploit someone in order to increase their gains, they are likely to do that, unless you are introducing some means to prevent this. Let's revisit it now. First of all, what is utility exactly? Utility was a quick fix that economics used because they couldn't really measure what they wanted to measure, which is happiness. So they introduced the term utility, which you can quantify and measure, but then you really forget what life is all about. It's not about utility, it's about the happiness that you can gain in many ways, and utility is one way in which you can do that. Also, you realize that opportunism is a human trait, but opportunistic behavior is not. And there is this work by Prosocial and Moran that explains why not everyone will behave opportunistically, but if you make this fundamental assumption of the system, then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You observe this behavior because everyone is being taught that this is how you are supposed to behave. And there is recent research showing that business school graduates that became executives, they managed to increase shareholder value at the expense of profits, employee welfare, and all of the other measures that also count. They're just following what we taught them, and this is not necessarily serving society. So if you realize that this behavior is not necessarily inherent to us, it's something that is imposed through the system, then we can start looking at, first of all, some exceptions. And there are examples of cooperative behavior. In the special SNJ issue that I edited in 2018, we had a very interesting article about the beer industry, where the local breweries were joining forces and were helping each other in marketing, with administrative issues, with sourcing resources, and the established breweries were helping the newcomers to the industry, which were becoming their competitors. And you wonder why they did it. They did it because when they entered the business, someone helped them. And the same behavior you can see in Silicon Valley, where you have established corporations helping startup companies to solve technical problems. And you can see this in other ways, like someone is holding the door for you, so you're taking the door and holding it for someone else. So this principle is called pay it forward, and the idea is that if you are a recipient of an act of kindness from someone, then you feel a sense of gratitude that will push you to be kind to someone else, not necessarily direct reciprocity to the person who helped you, but to a third party. So we see that, first of all, that this kind of behavior is misaligned with the typical behavior we observe in our economy. It, of course, works only if you perceive the behavior of the other person as genuine, that they really wanted to help you and not to gain something, some extrinsic motivation as a result. The question is, do we really need a trigger? Do we need to be recipients of act of kindness to be kind? The answer is no. So first of all, there is research showing that if we observe someone behaving nicely, kindly, helping others, it motivates us to behave in such a way ourselves. through observation. But there is even a more extreme condition of prosocial behavior. Prosocial behavior doesn't require any trigger, and we have examples of people's being kind to others in various settings. For instance, you can help someone with a flat tire, help the old lady carry her groceries home, or like in Italy, you have this notion of confesso speso. So you go to the bar and you order coffee, but you pay for 2 coffees. And one of these payments go to a jar where if someone comes to the bar and don't have money for coffee, they can just consume this confesso speso. And this shows act of kindness to a stranger. You don't know who will come to this place and use this extra money. It's a pure act of kindness. So altruism is the most extreme version of it, where you do that without any intent to benefit to your reputation or whatever, but it doesn't need to go that far. The idea is that people are nice and kind to each other. So how come we don't observe this that much in our economy? First of all, not everyone is like that. There is research showing that there is a distribution of tendencies to behave prosocially. So about one of the studies, about 30% have high tendency to prosociality, half of the population have medium tendency, and then you have about 20% that are more opportunistic. And in fact, the research suggests that prosocial behavior is not automatic, it's conditional. People will be kind to others if they see that other people are kind to others, or other people are kind to them. And even if they are behaving prosocially, it will be up to a point, and where they see that someone else is donating, they might donate less. And then, as mentioned, about 23% in this study were found to be opportunistic. This suggests that some people are prosocial, some people are opportunistic, but it's not even fixed. There are different factors that can increase prosociality. So one of them has to do with personality. People that are sincere, faithful, modest, and fair are likely to also behave prosocially. And honesty is related to prosocial behavior. And there is also evidence that where you grew up, your culture has an effect. So if you grew up in a country which is corrupt, where you see a lot of fraud and tax evasion, for instance, then children are being taught by their parents that in order to succeed in life, they have to be opportunistic. Also, societies which are very committed to the clan, then they are more prosocial within the clan, but not to outsiders. And you can see that when groups are being under pressure from the outside, they tend to behave more cooperatively. Religious, spiritual beliefs have a strong impact on the tendency to behave prosocially. So it doesn't matter if it's Judaism or Christianity or Islam. If you are truly a believer, then you will be concerned of God's retribution. Then you might be inspired by belief in karma, that you should behave nicely to others, otherwise you will pay. And if you be nice to others, then you'll be repaid. So if you have this kind of beliefs, then you're more likely to behave prosocially. So some people are behaving prosocially because they recognize the merits of this behavior. Others are just concerned of being penalized, or they go for the economic reward that comes with prosocial behavior. And if you have a society or a system that pushes toward more disengagement, where you can observe all around you how people are misbehaving, mistreating others, so we can see the overall opposite trend. The question is, does it pay off to be prosocial? The answer is yes. So if you believe in God, if you believe in karma, then of course you will be repaid, not on this planet, this time, maybe in paradise in the future, but also, depending on your belief, you would expect some payoff. But even if not, there is research showing that prosociality is linked to emotional benefits. So people that are behaving prosocially are happier, they feel more positive affect, they are more positive about different aspects of their life, and they are overall more satisfied with their life. And this happens especially when they can choose whom to help, how to help, and they can observe the beneficiaries of those who are receiving this help from them. So there are these emotional gains that apparently are greater than the economic costs of helping and acting on behalf of the other, because otherwise we wouldn't observe this behavior. So these are quite substantial emotional gains, and we blame the rules of economics. We blame Adam Smith for that. The Wealth of Nations, that was written hundreds of years ago, explains the essence of capitalism. But I think that we should clarify now that it's not Adam Smith's fault, because if you are really following his work, 17 years before The Wealth of Nations, he wrote another book, which is called The Theory of Moral Sentiments. And in this book, he writes about the fact that individuals are not only helping themselves, they are also helping people in their community, and when they do so, they enjoy a sense of perceived approval from society, and he talks about noble men. So apparently he was aware also about this pro-social behavior, so it's not Adam Smith's fault. So you must wonder if there is this power of pro-social behavior, which could be as strong as the power of opportunistic behavior. Why do we observe opportunistic behavior in our economic system? The issue is that both pro-social behavior and opportunistic behavior are self-reinforcing. If people around us are exploiting others, we are more likely to behave the same. And the economic system that we are currently embedded in reinforces opportunistic behavior because it rewards opportunistic behavior and penalizes those that are pro-social. So if you are kind to others in economic exchange, you'll be exploited. You're not being rewarded. And if you are exploiting others, you will be rewarded. And this is the nature of our system. So we mentioned that pro-social behavior is conditional, but we never meet the condition that allows pro-social individuals to behave pro-socially. Opportunistic behavior is being reinforced in our economic system, and the social norms of fairness and reciprocity that exist are not strong enough to overturn it. This suggests what the solution should be. So this is a very simplistic diagram of my proposed solution. But the idea is that we have two forces, greed and fairness. And greed facilitates opportunistic behavior, fairness facilitates pro-social behavior, and they are in a constant fight. In our economic system, this force is much stronger. It overtakes the other force, and therefore we see these problems emerging. All we have to do is to redesign the economy in such a way that gives more weight to pro-social behavior, so we can undo this, and then maybe we'll be able to solve these problems.